And we are back, yes, people. Yeah, it's time for our relationship segment. And today we have with us Blessing Offoga. She will be discussing conflict resolution in relationships. She is an HR professional and an emotional intelligence certified specialist who is passionate about people and sustaining healthy and lasting relationships. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
it's such
you.
a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, again.
Yes, yes. Anyways, let's dive right into it. Talking about conflict, a lot of people really do not know what conflict is.
Okay.
And even when they're, ongoing in their relationships, they don't know what it is, can't identify it. So tell us, what is conflict?
Okay, conflict is regular disagreements, I want this thing, you want that thing. We cannot agree on what should we do. Should we do mine or should we do yours? Or do we find common ground? That's. And where people exist, there will always be conflict. And there'll be conflict over money, there'll be conflict over ideas, there'll be conflict over your children, there'll be conflict over material things, about everything. But one thing we need to know is an amount of conflict is needed for a healthy relationship. If there's no conflict at all, the relationship will be boring.
Yes. What you've just said right now is very spot on. Now let's talk about some of the common causes of conflicts in a relationship.
I think I already mentioned that. Money, it can be, and sometimes it can just be pig-headedness on the part of either one of the partners or both of them.
Not compromising.
Not wanting to compromise. Say my own idea or my own thing has to overrule. So sometimes just your ego at play. And again, it's not mainly about the conflict. It's just how you manage it.
All right. There's just something that I recently realized. Even when I did, I was amazed at it because I'm like, why did it take me so long to realize this? My husband and I, for example, we have different conflict resolution techniques. He has his way of resolving conflicts. I have my way. And it took a while for me to realize that. So how can people identify what their partner's, technique or method for resolving conflict is, and how can they approach it, or how should they approach it?
Okay, ma'am, the fact that you even realize it, that's self-awareness. Yes, but self-awareness is not complete if you do not also know how to manage the other person. Yes, that's a part of relationship management. Okay. So yes, I know that this is how I manage conflict. You now need to find out how he manages conflict and then find a middle ground. Okay. Because if he manages it in a different way, you resolve conflict in your own way, there will still always be conflict because there's an issue at hand. I want to do it my way. He wants to do it his way. But if you understand that this issue, if my husband were to approach it, this is how he would approach it. If I were to approach it, this is how I will approach it. Can you, each of you, put your egos aside, come together and say, okay, we have this issue at hand. Which way is best? Let's attack the issue. Don't particularly let your emotions alone overrule your judgment.
Yeah, but then you have people who actually hold on to the issue. Like, they hold on to what that person has done because people really do not know how to separate the issue from the person. So how, if I am, for example, in that kind of situation, what advice would you give to me, not being able to separate that, issue from the person?
I was talking to someone now just before we came on air, and I said that relationships require work. Relationships require sacrifice. And it's the reason why these days you see people just have baby mamas all around. I don't want that struggle, that trouble of having to manage or having to compromise or having to, sacrifice anything in a relationship. But if you want your relationship to work, each person needs to be able to bring an amount of sacrifice into it. So put your egos aside. Do you understand? We want this relationship to work. What do we do? That's basically the thing. But if you say that, oh, we'll let our egos prevail, and then you attack yourself instead of attacking the issue, there'll always be...
Now, let's talk about the best ways to resolve conflicts, because there's also that as well. A lot of people really do not know, okay, so yeah, I have an issue, I don't know how to resolve it, and we live in a society where a lot of things are usually swept under the carpets. Like, oh yeah, this happened, oh, makeup, and that's it. Yes, so what's the best way to resolve conflict as a couple?
Okay, I can't say there's the best way to resolve every conflict. Every conflict is different depending on the cause. Say money issues. like I've said, some people just sweep it under the carpet. Don't worry, I'll just find a way around it. You know, without communication is key in relationships. So we have this issue. What should we do about it? Yes, there are several ways. Sometimes some particular issues actually require you that at that point in time you walk away. Yes, walk away from it so that, you know, tempers cool, and then you can come back to say, okay, now that our tempers have calmed down, let's talk. Do you understand? But talking is just what it is, talking. Talking is different from effective communication. I talk, you talk. Do I understand what you've said? Am I listening enough to pick your verbal and non-verbal cues? Do you understand? Am I picking what your face is saying or what your body is saying?
No.
Do I understand what you've said? Do you understand what I've said? And then let's reach. That's just one aspect. There are other aspects. Sometimes say, oh, we have money issues. Can we compromise if we need to pay a child's school fees, for instance? Yes, and one of the partner, maybe if, say, the husband is the one who usually pays, and at that point in time, or maybe I'm having financial challenges and I cannot. Do you have it? Can you lend me? Or do we want to? And again, I tell people that in relationships, we need to discuss these things before we enter fully into it. Do we want to contribute this money together?
Important.
I was listening, or I saw a video where Steve Harvey was saying that every couple should have 4 bank accounts.
4 bank accounts?
Yes.
As a joint account?
No, not all of them
separate
joint.
accounts?
Some, 2 of them are joint, 2 of them are separate. One joint account is monies for rent, monies for school fees, monies for the upkeep of the family, and all of that. Another bank account is savings. So we're saving, say we want to buy a house, or we plan to do this or do that. That's savings, where both partners contribute. So both the one for rent and all of that, and then the one for savings. And then the other 2 are your separate accounts. You have yours where I don't question you, do what you want to do with it. I have mine account, you don't question me, I can spend money from it, I don't have to take permission from you. You know, 4 bank accounts. See, that, to me, that's one way to resolve that money conflict. So we have these bank accounts, 4 of them. I have my own account. If I want to buy shoes, for instance, I know someone who says, I bought these shoes, and I can't tell my husband I bought the pair of shoes. Like, oh, is that a new one? Like, oh, no, I had them before. You know, because, you know, she knows what's going to happen if the husband finds out that you just bought another pair of shoes. But if I had my account where we've already agreed to say that this is how much I'm going to spend.
There's no question.
There's no question about, you know, how you're spending the money from that account. But like I said, that's just one way. Again, depending on the kind of conflict, sometimes you may need to. One thing, again, I always try to stress is whatever is happening per time, try to pause. You know, just take a pause, 6 seconds. It's called a 6 seconds pause. Between the time you're receiving information from the other person and when you're trying to react. Okay. There's a 6 seconds gap.
So you need to take that pause.
Take that pause. Think
before
about
you
it.
react.
Or stop. Think.
Okay.
What do I want to see? What is the outcome that I want, that I expect from this particular situation?
Thank you
Sometimes it influences
so much,
how you react.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you here. Hoping that we'll continue this conversation or some other one next week.
Very well.
All right. The conversation continues, of course, on our social media platforms at TVC Connect. Now, let's throw you with our second performance for today from Ria. Take it away, Ray.